Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. This is episode 262. We are back from our summer series. I don't know if we're sad or happy about that yet, but we'll determine that as this episode and a few others unfold. Today, we are going to attempt to have 3 back-to-back juicy, meaty episodes for you today, and we hope to get through that. And we've missed you all. We've missed each other. So before we get into the topic of today, which is actually vacations from hell, and those trips that don't go well, because sometimes we completely think all vacations are awesome. We look at people's Instagram. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. So boy, do we have stories. Before we go to that topic, we're going to check in with each other. Ceci and Vero, how are you feeling today?
Good. A little exhausted. Siento la presión aquí en mi espalda. I was telling Ceci off air, that I'm like, I finally have my adjustment scheduled with my chiropractor and a massage on Monday because ya me llegó lo cuarentona, where the other day I felt like my hip and my leg my leg dislocated from my hip or something. I felt like it was just hanging off and I had to pop it back in place. And then me empezó un dolor de espalda como una viejita since then. But other than that, I'm excited to be back to the non-summer series usual podcast con ustedes dos because ya las extrañaba, canijas, ¿no? Canijas son, ándales, pues las quiero un chingo.
Igual. ¿Y tú, Ceci?
Yo también las extrañaba. I shared with you ladies that I'm like, I'm feeling emotional today. I'm like, let's jump on to, para platicar and, desahogar un poco. So I think just like getting into the mood of like podcasting y que las iba a ver y que las iba a platicar como me ayudó. And then también con Vero off air, we were talking about like our ailments ahora de cuarentonas y que de la espalda and all that. So, but we're excited to be back.
Yay, I'm excited too. I'm not going to talk about ailments because they're going to be like, damn, I started listening to these girls 5 years ago and they sounded like spring chickens. Now they're like dead roosters.
What happened this summer?
What happened to these women? They aged over the summer series. No es cierto. We're just living life. Life happens, living life. So maybe you can relate to the aches and pains or just the seasonal everything. I feel like my family had COVID this summer and we never get COVID. Everybody's going through it. It's a lot about age. But we're back. We're going to talk about travel and vacations because many of you have probably been traveling or still going to travel. This is going to air around Labor Day. So traveling may still be pending for you and your family. So there are some things that we'll share about our experiences that were not so great, and maybe we can help future travelers, or just expectations that didn't go the way they should have, or just really anything. So we're going to go anywhere and everywhere, but this is going to have a general feeling around the vacations that could have been, but didn't work out. I know Vero, when we brought up this topic, was like, I've got a story. So we're going to start with Vero, and Vero can start with her vacay that could have been better, but was a total disaster.
Ay, mujeres. Okay, so aquí está esta mujerona, ¿verdad? I was in my prime. I was like, yes, I was dating this handsome ass dude, grandotote, unos brazotes, unas piernonas. He was almost 7 feet tall, which probably was like a red flag because no one should be that big unless you're playing ball, right? Unless you're Blake Griffin. Hello, if you ever wanted to hang out. Anyway, but here I am. We planned an exciting vacation to none other than Cozumel, like Playa del Carmen, Cozumel. And I was like so excited because I'm like, I get to be with my man. And I'm like, oh my God, just imagine all the sex we're going to have. Oh my God, all the fun we're going to have. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to be so naked and have so much fun. Anyway, like there was a lot of that. I'm like, vamos a ir in excursions. And in my mind, I had built this up where I was like, I'm going to go with my man to this awesome place. We're going to have such a blast. Mind you, during this time, we're going to go to, it was like the end of September. So, like we're kind of in between, like before hurricane season or before, it's still nice, like nice temperature. We're like, this is good. So, and towards the end of September. In around July, we had gone to do some whitewater rafting. And I felt off with him. And our drive back from that, I think I've mentioned this in the podcast. I asked him like, hey, have you ever cheated on me? No sé por qué, but I felt something odd. You know how I always say, like, trust your gut? Oh my God, so I just noticed I'm totally matching with your back wall, Irene.
Yeah, I have a shirt like that too. So I was like, at least we're not like totally twinning. It would have been weird. Ceci would have been like the joke's on
like,
me.
Where's Irene? Where's her body if you would have worn it? Anyway, that distracted me. But I was like, on our drive down, I was like, back from that one trip, And so I planned this vacation to kind of like reconnect with him, right? Because it had kind of like felt, I was like, I already asked him if he was for real, like cheating on me or not. And he told me that, you know, he wasn't. So I said, if you ever do, or if you feel that you don't want to be in this relationship or you need something else, like we can break up or you can take a break, but I don't want us to break trust like that. So I was very upfront, you know, being an adult. So anyway, this is July. Fast forward to the end of September. We're like packing our bags. We're going on this trip. I'm super excited. I'm like, we're going to reconnect. We're going to have so much sex. We're going to have all this fun. We get there, you guys, and it is like pulling freaking teeth to get this man out of bed, to just go on an excursion, make my back hurts. Because he did have like rheumatoid arthritis and some other shit, right? But he was like, I need to get weed because he wanted to smoke because his back hurt. And I was like, I want us to do stuff. Like, you can smoke and we can be by the water and go swim. And it was the most boring freaking trip. I was like, let's get in the hot tub. Or, you know, we got a nice little room. I'm going to say this full on right here because it's so embarrassing. I've never shared it with anyone. I was like, the sex part, non-existent. We slept in separate beds. Like, we had like a room that was so big that tenía diferentes camitas, and they just happened to have it available. And
he was fucking going through it, pero amargándote el día y la vida y la semana. I'm sorry.
It was the worst. Okay, I had to befriend people at the pool because I'm like that, you know, platicadora y todo, and he was just like grumpers like everywhere. And I was like, this is the worst freaking vacation ever. And like my whole like idea of it, and I'm like, I only made him get out for like 2 excursions. For one of them, once we got there, he was like, I'm going to sit it out. I don't feel well. I was like, okay, I'm going to go. No sé si andamos en cuatrimotos or something. It was some excursion. Ya ni me acuerdo because of how miserable. I wanted to just block it out of my head. The other one we went to was to the cenotes, right? That big cenotes next to Chichen Itza. And then, so we did the Chichen, we did all that. And then we did the cenote. So he did those 2 excursions with me. Everything else was just like whack. But other than that, I was like, what a sucky time. And I felt like the connection wasn't there. He was, you know, even before we left, I was like, come on, we can't miss our bus to take us back to the airport. And you guys know, like, I'm very laid back, very chill, but me laid back, chill, compared to who he was like, I was like, ándale, and he was more like, ay boy, kind of very slothish. And I was just like, I can't freaking do this. I'm like, something's wrong. We get back from our vacation. I felt like wakala. I was like, I can't believe this is my partner. I can't believe this is my boyfriend. This is a person that I was imagining we would have so much fun together. Like, we just needed to get away. Like, he had been working a lot. And mind you, he was working a lot, saying I have to stay overtime. He worked in the loans and the mortgages, things like that. So I was like, damn, he must have a lot of things coming through, right? So during this time is when, like, this is the end of September. We get back. It's like October 3rd, I think. And I come back, I'm like full on back to being me. I'm like, okay, let's go to a Dodger game. He's like, I can't go. I have to work late. So I went with my friends and I was doing these things. So all through October, we were just off. And then November, we ended up breaking up. That's when I found out he was cheating. But all of that made sense. And I was like, I can't believe this fool, I feel, wanted to break up with me in Mexico and didn't, but just ruined the time we were there. Instead of saying, you know what, let this be our last hurrah, and then they're like, hey, we had a great time, but we're just not meant for each other. That's so different than just fucking shit up for someone and ruining their vacation and not being upfront with someone. Especially when that person was like, yo, what is up? And you're just like, nada.
And you were excited and you were trying. Like, it sucks to be like that person. Like, he's clearly going through it. He's not going to be loyal. That all unraveled. But to do that to you. So moral of that story is, if you're on vacation with people that are just a shit show, Vero should have just gone on with her life and found someone to share her bed with.
I should have left his ass. But when the bus was leaving us, guys, me peleé con la persona del bus.
Oh, tell me.
Si no, he's like, no, I had the guys, like, you know me, mis amigos de todos. So le dije a los muchachos that drive the little golf carts, I go, oiga, tal, like, me ayuda, nos lleva por favor a alcanzar el bus, acaba de salir. The dude waited for us to see us walking up with our luggage. He saw us, finally made eye contact with us. I was like, oh, he's gonna come help us. He looked at us, smiled, turned around and got in his bus and took off. Okay?
Aww.
And I was like, what the hell?
Oh my God.
So I was like, hurry up, Jesse, come on, let's, oop, I just said his name. But anyway, I was like, hurry up, dude. Ooh. And everyone should know his fucking name. And just... Para que se le quite. And I was like, come on, hurry up, let's go. He's like, I can't move any faster. I was like, yeah, you can't have these long ass legs, dude. Come on, get it together, you know? But I was like, okay. So the guy takes off, and then I was like, I can't believe that just happened. We're gonna miss our flight. I don't want to buy another flight. And so next thing you know, the guys, they're like, no podemos hacer nada. Le digo, por favor, mandes con el radio, díganles al frente que no los dejen salir, que nos lleven. And uno de los señores que I had kind of befriended throughout the time that we were doing our tour, our little excursions, le dije, nos hace el favor de llevarnos allá, por favor, donde va a salir el autobús. Acaba de irse el autobús. He's like, you know what, get on, let's go. I'll take you guys. I'm like, I'll give you $20. He's like, don't give me anything, let's go. And he was like, this is fun, right? We get there. The man didn't want to open the car. He was like, nope, you guys missed it. You guys missed your thing. And I was like, sir, please.
Vero, you were just attracting amargado.
Sí.
Otro amargado.
Todo ese viaje.
And si no me deja subirme, because he had gotten off to like do something to lift the gate. Le hago, yo me llevo su autobús. I told him that. Like, that's how, like, it got to the point where I was like, what the fuck is happening, you know? Le hago, si no me dejas subir, yo manejo y me llevo su autobús, que la chingada madre. Like, I was so mad. I was just so mad. And I turned around to see my partner, my boyfriend at the time, just like, como nada. Como nada. And I was like, what a fucking... ¿Qué accesorio? Like, you know, you're just there. You're not even an accessory,
Exacto.
dude. Like,
Exacto.
estás haciéndote güey. So it was like the worst, you guys. The worst. So if you ever feel off with your partner or with a friend or something, don't go on that long trip. Deal with that shit here, where you're close to home and you don't have to like worry about everybody else. Just deal with it here. Take a staycation and deal with it, because being abroad and being, you know, expecting a good old time is just the worst when you come back, and it's just like the worst. So anyway, that was my shitty vacation, my getaway with my partner, boyfriend at the time. So le deseo suerte ahora. Hopefully he's not making anyone miserable. Hopefully he's happy. But that was the worst. The worst.
Hopefully he's staying his tail at home. He doesn't need to be on vacation
nowhere.
with that attitude. Sobrando. Dead weight. All that other good stuff. I hope he does know what we're talking about.
That's the perfect
You're
word.
always
Really
insulted.
dead weight.
That ticket, we could have spent it on me. You could have taken me, Vero. I would have snuggled you in that bed. Todo would have worked out.
The cuddling would have been off the chain.
Sí, es cierto. Dude, we would have been on excursions, girl. Nos hubiéramos peleado together with the bus man. If anything, we both would have gotten arrested, but not you sola, not homeboy, just watching freaking mudo. Anyway, back to you, Ceci. Now that I've insulted him in 7 different ways.
Oh my
Tell
God,
us
that's funny.
journey that you've been on that was less than ideal.
Yo también me hubiera peleado. Yo con todo el mundo me peleo en México because, you know, just the way they are with things.
You're not going to rip Ceci off. If someone tries to rip Ceci off, remember the guy is in the hotel? You were like, hell no. Walk in and
yes.
He was trying to overcharge you for the
Yes.
ticket. You were like, you can come ask front desk. I'll walk over there with you.
I
in
know.
your language.
When Luis has situations like that, he's like, Chula, he's like, you handle it, right? I'm like, yeah, let me send that email. What was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to add this because like it's fresh on my mind and it is summer and we're talking about vacations. But if you guys are fans of the Love is Blind series on Netflix, the Love is Blind Mexico series is really good because, you know, es en español, es drama, y los chavos son así como bien buena onda, o sea, medios fresas, and like the drama that they live, and they start their romance after they're engaged blindly. They start their romance in Tulum. So they're vacationing y se llegan a conocer, you know, la pareja. So that your conversation kind of like reminded me of that a bit. So échenselo si tienen tiempo. Yo me lo eché during my sick days this week. Okay, vacation from hell for us. You know, Irene, you were saying at the beginning, like you see the pictures on Instagram, they're flawless, so cool, but the story behind those pictures, right? So for me, I would have to say last year when we traveled to Bacalar and Mérida, yes, the places were amazing, but the traveling to all the places that we went to, that was hectic because it was like 100+ degrees. It was insanely hot. I think when we were planning it, we were trying to do too much. The idea was that we wanted to go to Mérida. I had never been to Mérida. Quería conocer Mérida, and you know that was the main purpose of the trip. You know, we were taking, and it's with the girls, right? Our girls at the time were 6. I'm talking about last summer. So we planned it, but then we hadn't seen my suegros, my in-laws. So we're like, okay, hay que llegar a Guadalajara, fly into Guadalajara. Then, the 2-hour drive or whatever to my suegros pueblo. We're there a day or two, and then we go back to Guadalajara to take the flight to, ¿a dónde llegamos? Oh, a Chetumal. We do our bacalar, and then we go to Mérida, and then we go back to El Rancho de mis suegros. Cool. We when we planned it, it was exciting. We're like, oh, vamos a ver, vamos a hacer un montón de cosas. Vamos a regresar a Bacalar. The girls love it. Vamos a conocer un nuevo lugar en Mérida. Y también, pues, we're going to get to see my suegros, my in-laws. So cool. Pero llegando, so llegamos a Guadalajara, and then, you just feel the heat. And then at that time, at my suegros, they viven en un pueblito en Jalisco, and at that time, they didn't have any AC in the house. The first night, oh my God, Luis and I did not sleep at all. First because, es un pueblo, todos are up late and, playing their loud ass music, pero con un calorón that tienes que dormir como con las ventanas abiertas. Sorry, I'm talking a lot of Spanish. You have to sleep with your windows open, but even then, the heat was just unbearable. We didn't sleep at all, and I think we were only there that first. I don't know if it was a weekend, ya ni me acuerdo, but we were only there a day and a half, and then the next day we had to wake up at the crack of dawn to get driven back to Guadalajara, 2 hours at the crack of dawn to fly to Chetumal. But again, we're excited. We get to Bacalar. Again, it's even hotter than El Rancho de mis suegros. So we make the best out of it. At least the Airbnb home that we were staying at had direct access to the lagoon. It had AC, cool. We were going to enjoy ourselves. And then that first night, in the middle of the night, the power goes out. The power goes out. The heat is so intense that it wakes us up. Luis is oh my God, no podía. Y Luis es bien exagerado para el calor. I can tolerate the heat more than my husband does, but he cannot. So he could not go to sleep. He was we were messaging the Airbnb owner, and it turns out because the heat was so intense, I think the post I get, or just the outage had been all across our block because everyone was using their ACs, and Bacalar no es tan it's not as populated, so they don't have as many resources as the bigger touristy places. So we were a few hours without any power, and even though it was the middle of the night, se sentía el calor ingrato. And then at some point, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the morning, it came back on. And so then it was okay for the rest of the time we were there. So, it was bearable when we were, in the lagoon and inside the home with full on AC. So we enjoyed ourselves, whatever, cool. But then we had another leg of the trip, which was to go to Mérida. And then when we get to Mérida, it's even fucking harder. And
it's
again,
hot.
It's freaking hot.
Hella hot. Bacalar is hot too, but I think Mérida
was the hottest. Mérida was the hottest, and mind you, I had booked the excursion to Chichen Itza, and then they were going to take us to uno de los cenotes and all that. Our thanks to seeing Irene and her family, that when they had stayed, you guys had a home with the pool. We're yes, we're only freaking gonna get a Airbnb home with a pool. So I guess that made it
Did you guys get the same house? Because it looked very similar.
No, we didn't. No. It did look very similar. I remember messaging Irene. I'm wait, is this the home that you got? But it wasn't. But I think because they're all kind of styled similar.
Yeah, they're all that. It's Spanish courtyard type pools. I remember we talked about it. I was you have to get a pool. You have to, because it's going to be so hot, and the kids will they'll thank you later. You'll thank yourself later.
Yes, we definitely did. It's funny. Yesterday I was watching through the girls' tablet, and I found a video of Samantha. I guess we were all napping or something. She's going around, like, showing the home, like, this is my room, and this is my bed, and this is my sister. She's taking a nap, you know, and like, Paula's all mad. So I'm glad that, you know, I found that.
Dude, the other thing though, I don't know if it was bad for you guys, but my niece went to visit us, and oh my God, you know, mosquitoes are there, but some people, they devour and destroy. My niece Joanna, what is that saying? Como que una metralleta se la había like chingado. Like she was covered in bug bites. And it's so hot que no te puedes tapar en la noche. And even if you do, they're going to bite through that sábana, right? You're not going to be under a blanket because it's so hot. So it's like these animals will bite through the damn little thin sábana. Like she was covered in mosquito bites. Pobrecita.
We did. I think some of us more than others. I mean, las piernas and my legs. We were, you know, using the bug repellent, but it only works so much, you know, things like that. But, you know, anyway, so we did that. Oh my God. And then the day that we go to, Chichen Itza, you know, the little bus picks us up or whatever, we get there y también, like, ahí, pues, where do you go? It's hot. Like, you know, there's no shade. There's no shade. In our little excursion group, there was a couple that was maybe late 60s, early 70s. And then Luis is like, why are they here? You know, este señor, you know, something might happen. Like, this is too hot for this couple. And sure enough, like at some time, so everyone kind of went their own way. Like we did a little tour, but then everyone kind of went their own way. And then later on, we see like an ambulance. And the man had like heat stroke.
No.
So se lo llevaron. And then, so anyway, and then the excursion took so long just to get back to Merida, to the home. So it was like exhausting. And being in Chichen Itza, like the girls were crying because they were so hot. Dude, I see. So, and even after that, like we went back to my San Pancho con mis suegros, and it felt cooler, so at least there was that. And I think finally that, you know how like in the summer it rains, but it didn't freaking rain when we were there until like our last day. So then on the way back, we were reflecting like in the airplane, I think, or the airport. I was like, all right, lesson learned. When we go back to Mexico, like we either go visit my suegros or we go somewhere else. Like we can't be doing all these little different stops. And then I'm like, why did we go to Bacalar? I don't know. I think because we were reminiscing of like our time in Mexico, and like we wanted to go back and just like have a, you know, I don't know, like, and we know that the girls love it. I love it. I mean, I'll go back anytime, but if I'm gonna go back, it's just gonna go to there and like no para ir, especially if it's like with the kids, not to be traveling to different spots in Mexico. So like that's the world. Like, okay, we're like our upcoming vacation, it's Europe. Yes, we can jump like from country to country, but we're like, no, we're gonna go to Spain. That's it. Madrid, Granada, y un día Sevilla, y así, like for 2.5 weeks. And I think that's manageable and doable. It's the first time for us traveling to Europe with the girls, so ahí les cuento en un mes a ver cómo nos fue.
You are taking the girls.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to leave them because they're in school, and only you two were going to go. I'm like, she's going to have such a nice time connecting with Luis.
No, we're going. We're that's our summer trip, because we didn't do a summer trip as a family this summer, and so we're taking them out of school. And Luis has this conference like 2-3 days, something like that, and then like we're traveling together. But we're gonna kind of take a chill pill, not try to do so many things, and take it from there. To Oaxaca, it's only him and I when we're going to Oaxaca. Yeah, so we'll see.
And both of those are going to be great. They're not going to be vacation hell.
They're going to be great.
Learned your lesson.
Yes, I have.
It's so tempting to go to Europe. I always hear from people who go to Europe for the first time that they did too many places. Like you kind of like it because you appreciate you saw maybe 3 countries or whatever, 4 countries. But I just had a nephew that came back from a wedding. It's like, I kind of wish I would have taken my time. I was rushing to go to the next thing, and people stayed back in the south of Italy where the wedding was that he went to, and they were having such a great time. And here I was trying to like add in more. So it's like, you do London, you do Amsterdam, you do Spain. Like it's just a lot. And it seems like so easy because it is, but it is a lot of moving and trains, planes, your luggage. Like it's a process. So it's good that with the girls, you're not trying to do like 3 countries.
Yeah, hell no. And then like, both of us have been to Europe. So Luis started abroad in Spain, so did I. So, and I haven't been back since. So it's been 23 years. So it'll be nice to be back there. And then Luis is still in touch with his host family when he visited. So like they're excited to meet us. And so I think we're gonna stay with them. We're gonna stay with them like a few days at the beginning. So that should be exciting. And they have a granddaughter that va a jugar con las niñas. So
qué lindo.
I'm looking forward to this vacation. Much needed, and so para poder pues sí, como disfrutar and relajarme un poco.
Much needed.
Precioso, precioso. So that's 2 for 2 on the horror stories that could have been, and they're not that bad, but I mean, weather plays a factor. Like, definitely have to consider that hot weather is sometimes not what you're used to. You guys being from the Bay, it's even colder usually, and it's just not something your girls are used to. So thanks for sharing that story. I was thinking of my journeys and different places that I've been to, and I have like a sprinkle of places here and there that were like not as impressive or not as fun, or Airbnbs from hell. But I won't bore you all with all those details, but they were all like flashing back of like places that like, oh, we got to get out of here. This Airbnb is too cold, or this one is got just not the business. It's not in the safest neighborhood or whatever, right? But I was thinking about my layover from hell. Have I told you guys about my layover in Paraguay? That I went to Paraguay, but I didn't go to Paraguay?
Como que sí,
Como que
sí.
me acuerdo.
I feel like I've told this story on the podcast.
Como que me acuerdo, yeah.
So I was thinking of telling that one, but let me just tell you very briefly. We got moted in Paraguay because we tried to go there for a couple of days. We were going to take a bus from there to Argentina, and then when they were like $160 a person, I was like, never mind. So I booked a flight and got the hell out of Dodge. So we didn't actually go into Paraguay. It was like really crazy, like layover from hell. We spent the whole night in that airport, which had nothing. We couldn't find any phone chargers. They had no food. It was closed. No offense if you're from Paraguay, but it was just like not the airport to be stuck at for as long as we were. We were just excited. We couldn't wait to get back on a plane and go somewhere else. So we weren't there very long, but you live and you learn. And we literally got to an airport and refused to enter the country because we were like, nope, we're not going to pay for visas, because we were only passing by. So we were like, it's not worth it. But interestingly enough, a story that I will say is a recent story. When we took our son to Georgia, it was not the vacation we thought it would be. And that is such an interesting process. We are so excited taking our kids to their summer vacation. We're moving our kid to Georgia. So we tack on extra days because his birthday was like the Tuesday after the Friday where move-in starts, right? So we didn't move him in that Friday. We actually didn't set up his appointment to move him until Sunday. So we could take our time. We can get through this trip kind of slowly because we're going to lug our kids. They're 12 and 14. It's been about their brother the whole time. So let's do something fun with them. In the process, my niece and my sister, they were so excited to join us that they decided to come too. And that ended up being like a beautiful surprise. I ended up like moving my flight. So we spent 2 really great days with them, Saturday and Sunday. They were just there for the move-in and for one day in Atlanta. Our friend that we all know, who's the Guilt Free Squad, who went to college with us, she spent Saturday with us. So it started really great before the move-in part. It started really great. And we had family, and we had support, we had friends, like we're loving it. But it was all about my son moving to college. Like everything was about him. He was center stage. He was everything. So my husband and I are like eager to get to the part where it's like, okay, let's do something with the kids. Let's do something with the kids. So this is a cautionary tale for anyone that's moving their kid to college. That's all it really can be. Like, it's such a big monumental thing that it's not going on vacation. You may not be from, say, Berkeley, and you're moving your kid to Berkeley. Just come to Berkeley for that. Don't think you're going to go to the wharf. Don't think you're going to enjoy time. We had not considered it's emotional. It's sad. He was hella busy. So it was like revolving around him times 10. My little kids, they're really good troopers, but they've always revolved around him. He's always like been so much older, done things before them. Los pobres, like, they're lucky. Like, we're going to take them bowling. We did take them bowling. That was a fun day. We took them to the museum of the university, and it was okay, but we were more into the museum than a 12 and a 14-year-old. But I'm going to tell you guys, the part that was so unexpected was our son. Our son was so like already overwhelmed. He wants to be in Greek life. There was all these rush events going on. There's so many different organizations to meet. It's like a super overwhelming week. So we're all happy-go-lucky, me and Diego, thinking about like reservations for his birthday and thinking about taking the kids to do something fun. And not with him. Like, we were completely clear. Like, he's busy. We're going to go on hikes. We're going to go see the botanical garden. It's hot. Igual. Like, yeah, right. We're going to be at the botanical garden. It's hot. Which, by the way, Georgia isn't even that hot. I think we've been to so many hot-ass places like Merida that me and everybody like, Georgia's fine. Georgia's fine. And we've already been there twice in the summer, and we don't find it like what everybody said it was going to be, like unbearable.
When the humidity kicks.
But it hasn't hit twice. It hasn't hit.
Isaiah's going to tell you, girl. Isaiah's going to tell you. And it gets nasty.
One day,
September.
maybe.
Just wait.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We went in July. It wasn't that bad. We went in August. It wasn't that bad. So then Isaiah was saying, like, are we jinxing it that it hasn't been that bad? But maybe we've never had like the real humidity, like the Merida humidity. But so weather wasn't too much of a bad factor. Like we could be out during the day. But my son's schedule, my son's attitude, my God bless him. But my son was doing what they call like soiling the nest. They say that like college kids get a little bratty. You know, they're leaving. It's going to make goodbye easier. So they're kind of like giving you the rolled eyes, like so annoyed by everything you say, so annoyed by everything you do. So anyway, if he hears he's going to kill me, but I'm totally going to put him on blast right now. We were running an errand the Monday before his birthday on a Tuesday. We were going to leave that Wednesday back home. And it was early that morning, and I was going to run to return some things and pick up some things for him. And I said, you want to come with me? He's like, yeah, sure, come get me. So I picked him up at his dorm. I'm going to go run some errands with him. Diego decides to come. Diego's with us. We're buying like a desk chair. He wanted a desk chair, which we weren't going to get him. Of course, he suddenly wanted all these things that he saw other dorms have. We're all into it. Ahí vienen. They're like at the store, cargados with stuff. I had just returned some things, so I'm like joining them, right? And I could see them from a distance, and I could see them talking. And then I'm like, what are they talking about? Because it's progressively getting worse. What are they talking about? Because they do not look happy. Oh my God. De repente you could just tell they were like having a spat in the middle of the store. And I'm like, oh my God. And Diego's like, I'm done. That's the most entitled thing. I'm done. That's it. I'm like, this is his college moving him? This is our vacation? This is our vacation. And I was so glad that the little ones weren't there. Turns out Diego had said to him, Isaiah, make sure you check in with your mom. You know, this is probably really emotional for her too. Diego was talking about himself because, guys, he cried the most. He went through the most. Like, he was the sweetest. Like, he cried a lot. Like, I was like, wow, Diego's really going to miss Isaiah. Texting him that he loves him, texting him that he's going to miss him. And he tells him, like, check in with your mom. Like, this is a lot for her. Isaiah had the audacity. And he's going to regret this forever. He goes, I'm the one moving to college. Woo! Diego could have slapped him, thrown that desk chair in his face. Like, Diego was hot. And he should be, because that's a very rude, entitled, not okay thing to say. So I just clutched them and I'm like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. Dad every day tells me something. Like, I'm already going to be 18. I'm like, hold on. Like, he doesn't talk to us like that. So I was like, wait a minute. You're turning 18. Ya te crees mucho. He goes like, I'm done. Everything we do for him, every time, everything's about him. We're revolving around him. We're okay with it. And he can't do one thing for his mom. And I'm like, what? And I was like, what's the one thing? So me cuentan en el carro. He's like backpedaling, feeling terrible. But that like soiled the next 3 days because it's like that moment. Like, Diego was so hurt. And I was like, damn, these next 3 days were kind of about the kids' vacation. But if Diego and Isaiah had this spat, like, it's just gonna be weird. Sure enough, we drop him off and Diego's like emotional about it. Like, he couldn't get over like his son saying that to him. Fast forward, like the next time we get together, he's talking about how, that day Diego had gone to pump gas or something or gone in another store. And I go, Papa, like, that wasn't cool. Like, you don't say something like that to him. All that's being done for you. And we don't mean to throw it in your face, but like, Dad's just saying, like, take a moment, breathe, reflect on others. Like, so I'm trying to, he's like, you're right. I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, what are you overwhelmed by? Like, school hasn't even started. Like, Diego said that in the car. This just getting started, homie. Like, there's a lot going on. Because he's like, I didn't mean to say that. He tried to backpedal and be like, just a lot going on. He was like, that's what you're here for a lot going on. Like, Diego was hot. Diego leaves us and I'm like, hey, so this is normal. Like, your dad's right. Like, you got, like, things are going on. He's like, it's just, I got so much going on with all the fraternities and all the events and all this stuff. I'm overwhelmed. There's just a lot. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, okay, you're overwhelmed. We can write it down. We can figure it out, but you don't have to like trip. In saying that, then Diego catches wind that he's overwhelmed, supposedly, about all the fraternities that he's meeting. So the next thing Diego decides to do, and I'm like, oh my God, this vacation. The next thing that Diego decides to do is to text his frat that's there, because he's in a frat, a very, very big frat. And this long, like, 4-paragraph text, not my husband, that is so my mom, me, like kind of thing mom would do in life, micromanage or connect people or ser metiche. Diego does not do stuff like this. So I think Diego was just going through it. Texts them like, our son's in the middle of rushing. I'd love for him to connect with you guys. You know, he's trying to be his own man, so it doesn't seem like he's looking over at your organization. And the guys were like, yeah, for sure, connect us. We go to dinner. We're all finally settling in from, like, whenever he comes back, there's, like, this tension. When the kids, it's just us and the kids, it's not there. So then we go to dinner, and he's like, hey, by the way, I reached out to my frat. And he's like, Dad, I'm trying to do, like, my own thing. Da-da-da-da. We get interrupted. We're, like, at dinner, so we get interrupted. They take it. The lady was so nice. Everyone's so nice in Georgia. Taking our order, whatever. He goes back, and he goes, okay, Dad, you can have so-and-so reach out to me. He says the name of the org. And then Diego goes like this. Shows him the text, like right when my son is like, you can have them, shows him everything he wrote. He's like, Dad, that is so embarrassing. Never mind. Now he's like, what do you mean it's embarrassing? I'm trying to help you. It's so not Diego. It is so not Diego to be like metido, to try to help his baby out. He's like, I thought it was good. Look how great they said it. He's like, Dad, I'm 18 now. Like, I can like reach out to people on my own. Like, they're going to know I'm the guy. And that part, Isaiah was kind of right. Like, Isaiah was trying to keep it together and not be like, I'm my own person. I'm the one going to college. He was trying to learn from the day before, guys. He's like, here my dad is again stepping in the shit. And I'm just looking at him like, why are you showing the text? Like, I have so much knowledge with the kids. You just say it. You show them something. You don't show them everything. You know their personality. I would never have shown Isaiah the long ass text I sent. I would have just said, by the way, talk to them. They want to talk to you. Teenagers don't need all the details. They don't, you do what you got to do. When they say yes, you run with it. So anyway, this is the funniest part that I want to talk about, the vacation being ruined. So then that happens where Isaiah's like, forget it. And you could just see like Diego deflated because I'm like, oh, he had gotten what he wanted. And then he goes and shows him this long old text and the part about my kid wants to be his own man. So he hasn't reached out. He's like, Dad, if I meet them, it's like the kid that wanted to be his own man. Like, Dad, like now I can't meet them. And I'm like, oh my God. And the little ones are so, first of all, this is the part that's funny. The little ones are so fucking confused because they're like, what the fuck? We had gone to this restaurant that we love to go to in the East Coast called Cheddar's. We had gone there the day before with the littles. We had a great dinner, like talking, chatting, somos platicadores, doing icebreakers. We love it. Sophie even cried because she's like, we were all talking about what we would do different if we got Isaiah for another year, how it would be. Sophie's like, I talk to him more. We all start crying. Like, Isaiah's not there at this dinner. And she's like, because I feel like you guys are all going through it and you guys are all sad. I'm not really as sad. And we're like, it's okay. No one's telling the stories. We're all having a great dinner. Flash forward 24 hours. The minute he's there, the oldest, the dinner starts to like implode. And I'm like, oh my God, these kids are going to have like the day before when their brother wasn't there and the day when their brother was there, they're probably like, que se quede. We don't want to see this kid again. Que se quede. So I'm just sitting there, guys. Like, I was so zen this whole trip. I was so like handling it, believe it or not. Like, I'm the emotional one. I was like, I gotta keep it together because his family's gonna break apart. Anyway, Diego's trying to keep it together, but he's like brokenhearted that his son doesn't want the intro to the frat, which I could have told you that because he ain't trying to go to UCSB. He doesn't want to do what we've done. He wants to like pave his own path. The kid's not gonna move to the South if he's not trying to pave his own path. We have to let him like do his thing and he'll find his way back. So hard, by the way. Easier said than done. I'm 2 weeks removed from that. Now we're cool. But in the moment that happens and you can see that sort of Diego's like kind of like trying to hold it together. And Noah's like, I don't get what the big deal is. Noah interrupts. Noah is 12 years old. I love Noah. He's like our wise little Buddha. He's like so easy to talk to. He goes, Dad's just trying to help. Like, I don't see what the big deal is. But you could tell que Noah le tiene miedo al brother. So he's kind of like trying to say it, but kind of not trying to say it. Like, trying not even to look at his brother. Like, me va a regañar. And then he goes, Isaiah's like, how would you like that, Noah? Think about it. You're trying to do your own thing. How would you like that? Like, Dad should not speak for me. Like, I'm 18 years old. I should be able to speak for myself. And then Diego's like, do not talk to Noah like that. That's not okay. He's like, no, I'm just saying, like, I'm fine. I'm grateful, Dad. Like, he's trying to back it up. And Noah's confused. But you could tell that, like, Diego's, like, emotional. And Diego was so emotional on this trip. And the kids don't see him like that. So then you could tell that, like, Noah's getting emotional. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Diego gets up to, like, walk away to, like, gather his emotions. Noah follows him. And they're having a moment in the parking lot. Sophie is fucking up her cheddars because how we established the day before, she cool. Like she don't know why everybody's got high energy. She don't know why everybody's fighting. And here I am with Isaiah because we and Isaiah, we get along really well because we're a lot alike too. Like very type A, very go. Like sometimes you got to think before you speak. He's learned those rough around the edges things likely from me. So I'm like, Papa, like you could see you're right, Mom. I thanked him. I told him. I go, but then the way you talk to your brother, you see how that's, you're right. I'm gonna think about that. I'm working on that. He's like fucking up some ribs. And I'm like, but for real, he's like, you're right, but this, but that. So then I'm like, per usual, like playing middleman. And I'm like, we're supposed to be on vacation. Like we are supposed to be enjoying each other. Guys, we drive him to his dorm. Me and Diego are like, that's it. Tomorrow is about the kids. Like, that is it. The little ones have been so patient. They've been following along. Me and Isaiah keep having these spats. And at the same time, trickled with love, trickled with hugs, trickled with kisses. Like, he was also really sweet. But if you balance out sweet with being, like, bratty or ungrateful, and the thing with the fraternity, he wasn't ungrateful. He was just, like, super embarrassed and didn't want his dad's help. And his dad was like, I can't believe he doesn't want my help. I'm like, well, he doesn't want my help and a lot of things. Like, he's 18. Like, let's let him figure it out. Long and short of it is the next day we made it all about our kids, but it was only one day left. We took them bowling. Like, that's not really taking your kids anywhere special. Like this vacation, like we owe our kids a vacation because there's so many moments of like, it should have been just about dropping the one off. We probably shouldn't have taken the littles, though it was nice to be with the littles, but it was nice when the big one wasn't around. Like that's weird. Parents listening, like, I don't know, maybe your dynamic's different, but our oldest was like, he's like blossoming. It was his 18th birthday too. So it was just this energy. And since then he's called, he's FaceTimed his dad. He's told us all about the frat he's joining. He's like in a new bubble. He's grateful. He's texting. He's sending TikToks. It's like he just needed space. Estamos like arriba de él, all about him, trying to do stuff for him that Dad's never done. Like, Dad's never done stuff for him, and he's like that, like trying to be like, here, I introduce you, I'm gonna hook you up, I'm gonna this, I'm gonna that. He didn't like that. Dad telling him how to talk to me, how to be with me. He didn't. It's like, stop telling me what to do this week. Like, I have a lot going on. Crazy experience. I know moms are still moving their kids away. It's called Soiling the Nest. I had already read a book about it. Like, they're gonna be a little brattier. They're gonna be a little more like, don't take my picture, or they will want to take the picture with you. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get. Like, Isaiah has this digital camera, and he was like, hold on, Mom, come take a picture with me. Took 2 pictures with me. That's not really like him, but especially if it's his digital camera, I know those are his golden pictures. And he sent them to me. Like, they show you their love, right? They show you their way. But especially if they're older, they don't want their parents like cramping their style. So imagine going through all those emotions, you guys, and we're supposedly on vacation. And we brought the little ones. Era un desmadre. It was like an emotional overload. Okay, last thing, really. Diego was talking about outlets, like outlets in the house at the Airbnb we were staying in, really comfy Airbnb. And one outlet was like in reverse. And he's like, why is it like that? And he starts teaching the kids about studs. And he's like, I know all this because of the room we built for Isaiah. And I'm like, that's right. We built a whole, and I didn't say ass, but I wanted to like ass room for that kid. And look at him now. I go, that little ingrate. And everybody in the house just starts laughing. And poor Isaiah, like, he's not there to hear that. We're even making fun of him for being a little ingrate at times. But we can all be that way, by the way. We can all mess up. We can all be entitled. We all need to be checked. I'm really proud of Diego for being like, I don't care. He's getting checked today. Even though, like, it was like his last official act as a 17-year-old's dad. And they're now like super chummy. He's sending him photos from the frat. They're talking about like rushing. They're talking about pledging. They're connecting on Isaiah. The first thing he did was go and get a Roth IRA completely on his own. He'd been meaning to do it, and he turned 18. His friend has one. They connected. Like, he's doing all these things independent. We're like so proud of him, right? And we're hearing about it. Today he shared that he got his football tickets and he had messed that up when he first did it. Like, he's going to make so many mistakes. And if me and Diego keep trying to help him, it's going to be counterproductive. Like, let him make the mistakes. But that was not the vacation we thought it was going to be. It was very emotionally loaded. There were spats at the last minute. My kids went through it, which, by the way, they were great. They're amazing, but they are owed like 2 vacations for this one pseudo vacation that they did not really get a vacation. Oh, crazy, right?
Crazy. Oh my God. So I was just thinking that those last couple of days that you were there, and I don't know if it was like an actual Isaiah's birthday or the day you were coming back, I text you and I said, please read this to Isaiah. I hope you did it, because what part of the message was...
You did text me? No way.
Yeah, you liked it. You responded.
I don't remember at all.
I think I said good luck. I don't know if I said happy birthday or good luck to Isaiah. I'm like, please say this to, or please like read this to Isaiah. And I hope you didn't. I hope you didn't. Because I did. Part of my message was like, please check in with your mom on the weekend.
I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell him that. Remember what I told you about? I didn't tell him that. I literally know what's the censor. That's how this conversation
started right
now. In chinga. Yeah, exactly. No, I was like, oh my God, this is his best of luck at UGA.
Yeah,
by the way, that's all I said. That's all I said. I'm like, I'm not going to say check in on the weekends. Porque anda enojadísimo. Yeah, me quieres en el mole. No, I didn't read the whole thing to him. I sure didn't, girl. We were at church when you sent me this. We got to go to church during the week. No es cierto. We were not at church for this.
Yeah, no me acuerdo cuando. Pero yeah, I'm like, oh my God, I said it to check in with your mom, because like I think I'm like a mom.
Your story right now, Aiden, made me realize how ungrateful I was when I got moved to Santa Barbara. Me too. Dude, my grandma even went with us. Okay, my grandma was like, ¿qué es esto? ¿Qué ibas a ver mi abuelita de andar en Santa Barbara en una universidad? Y yo era una ingrata. Like, just like Ingrate. When my mom brought this up to me, like, that's long ago. Maybe like a year ago. She's like, oh, remember when we moved you to Santa Barbara? Tú ibas de un humor que no sé qué, y luego mi mamá iba con nosotros, y dices, ¿para qué vamos a traer esa viejilla que no sé qué? And I was like, I said that? And she's like, you said that. And your grandma was like super excited to come with us, you know? And I was just like, I cried because I was like, I remember in college how many of my friends were super close to their grandmothers and to their moms. And I wasn't that girl. I wasn't the girl that was close to the mom, to the tias, and to the grandmas, right? Like, especially grandma and mom. That was my sister. My sister was close to my mom. So when you said that story, Irene, I'm just like, yo quiero chillar por dentro, because I'm like, I wish I could get a do-over for that. Like, look, my parents... Because I'm like, I'm the brat.
Cry. It's true. We don't realize it. We don't realize.
And I was like, you know, even just to Santa Barbara, like my parents, you know, how are they going to know to take us to dinner? You know, like, but there's so much going on that, like, for us as a student, we just wanted to be like, okay, ¿qué está pasando? Like, quiero estar en todo. And we feel like our family's just like holding us back. Like, come on, I have to go do this. And they're just like, well, let us come with you. And it's like, So I just remembered that, and I feel terrible. And I hope my grandma in heaven que me perdone for being such an ingrata and, brat. But yeah, I mean, that's so rough. There's so many different emotions happening there that it's hard to like even recognize how hard it was for the mom and the dad and the siblings then, and like the family that came with, right? And then how hard it was for you doing something for us, doing something that's completely new, right? That we were like, well, I don't know anybody else that could, really tell me what this experience is. So, oh my God. Yeah, that brought back a lot of emotions, dude.
For real. Diego just kept saying, like, was I like this? I got to ask my parents. I got to be closer to my parents. I was like, I was kind of like that. I do feel like I was self-centered and I didn't call home and it was all about me. It was totally like that, the baby. But I also was a little more gritty and like my mom couldn't help, right? And my sister couldn't help. So they definitely looked at me with bright eyes and whatever you say, we are a resource to our son. Whether it's hard for him to see it, like my husband was one of the biggest fraternities. It's still one of the biggest fraternities. He knows what he's talking about. I send kids to college for a living. I know what I'm talking about. But we are not a preacher in our own land. And our kid wants to figure things out. He wants to do things on his own. He wants to, mom and dad told me so. And he'll come around, which is really great. He always comes around when it's like, you guys are right. You guys are right. Like when he made the mistake with the football tickets, the freshmen are supposed to get priority. They're supposed to pay one price and get all the tickets. And sure enough, he got overwhelmed. He's like, they're all sold out. Now I got to buy ticket per ticket. And I'm like, are you sure? I don't think it works that way. I'm like, these are like $300-$500 tickets per game. He's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know. And my dad said, read the fine print. And me and him are looking at him like, let's just let him figure it out. He goes and buys a $100 ticket that he doesn't need for the first game, on campus in a couple weeks, and then finds out he did it wrong. And now he got like 6 tickets for $70. $170 mistake or $100 mistake, whatever you want to call it. But Diego and I knew, like, algo está haciendo mal. We're not going to figure it out for him. Luego nos mandan la chingada. Like, literally how teenagers are. Te mandan a la chingada with your knowledge. So let's let it be. But it was emotional, and we both kept saying, like, well, how much of this are we going to share with people? Because he wanted to share with friends and stuff. I'm like, we got to keep it real. Like, people think it's like this. You're not going to put that on social media, like my kid's being a brat. But it could go in places like this where you can share that with other moms to warn them. I really felt prepared by reading the college books. They will act out a little. They will act independent. They will ignore your help. It's like their last act of defiance. And especially if they weren't defiant, they're trying to come into their own. So I felt very prepared for it. I felt my hubby over here was like shocked, but also he was more mushy than you could expect. Like he was more a little overbearing, like to tell him, you have to check in with your mom. You have to check in with your mom. I guess he had told Isaiah several times. He was like, I know, mom. Like, I know I'm going to check in with you. I know you're going through it. I'm also going through it too. I have so much going on. Like, he's already like, yeah, harto with us being like, you got to. And that's, so parents listening, and you, because your sister's doing this in a couple weeks, I'm sure he's a great kid. I'm sure he's not going to do all that. But también he might be a little bratty, and it's normal. And if their siblings are coming, I don't know how they get along with siblings, but just be warned. Se van a caer gordos, maybe. I don't know. Your family probably not.
She's moving him like the last week of September, I believe. So something like that. So I'm going to say, listen to this episode before.
For real.
Yeah.
And my niece and my friend and my sister, they got the best of him. Like, he was wonderful. The weekend was great. But the minute it was just us 5 again, and then we had moments of such beauty. And like, when we were first alone in the dorm, he wanted to hug. It was so beautiful. And we had just moments of like such like just connectedness. The way they said goodbye was beautiful. Like, it all worked out in the grand scheme of things. It wasn't a vacation. That's the point. It's not a vacation. So expectations. Tip of the day is to check your expectations on vacations. Check the weather report. Check the people you're going with, and check the reason you're going. The people you're going with is Vero. The weather was Ceci, and me. The reason, like, that wasn't really a vacation. What was I thinking? That was a vacation? That was not a vacation. That was an emotionally heavy closing of a chapter and a milestone, and it turned out to be not a vacation. So that's the show for today. It's a little longer because we're back from the summer series. If you want to ask us anything, make sure to check us out via email at admin@leveluplatina.com or DM us. Instagram, Facebook @leveluplatina is our handle. Last thing I'll say is there's still time to get tickets for the brunch. Ticket prices have gone up and they will sell out. So get your brunch tickets at leveluplatina.com. The brunch is on October 12th, Southern California, 11 to 2. It's going to be so good. We are so ready this year. So proud of this team. Like, it is ready. It's just lo que falta eres tú. So you and your friends get your tickets. That is really it for this show. We're going to wrap because it's gone as long as it has. We hope you've learned a little something about how to avoid a terrible trip and how to forgive your family, or how to dump the man that isn't working, or how to handle just traveling with kids and being in the thing and getting it done anyway. And the minute you were like chichinita and 2 little girls, híjole. But las quiero mucho. I hope everybody here can still squeeze in a little staycay or something. But until then, thanks for joining us today.
Ciao.
Ciao.